like to welcome you all to the Al-Hijrah Islamic Center. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, I want to welcome you all to what I feel is an amazing celebration. Now, I don't know if many of you think about it, but every week the Almighty blesses us with 168 hours. The problem is, I think sometimes if you watch, I think what my daughter calls the Crisis News Network, you would think that the whole world is going to hell in a handbasket. Am I right? That the news is going to show you, oh, in such and such an area, 1 out of 5 children goes to bed hungry every night. But you're sitting in a room with people who work to feed their hungry neighbor. And the Quran says that you who have faith are devoid of it if you don't feed your neighbor. That faith and this act of caring for your hungry neighbor is part of your commitment, the evidence of your commitment to your faith. Every day we see on the news negative information, homelessness. Today you're gathered with people who fight homelessness, opening the doors of their church during the day as our partner with Safe Haven, while the mosque opens its doors at night to house homeless people during the coldest months of the year. Every day you're going to see on the news network people who are intolerant of one another because they're Hispanic. You're going to find today people who say we are welcoming the stranger because, and one of the cardinals in Washington, D.C. area, he said, we don't care for the immigrant because they're Catholic. We care for the immigrant because we're Catholic. Because we believe, that's why we do for the other. Today we're gathered together with people from around this county who say we have an obligation to love and to care for our neighbor and the stranger. That's the news today. The news today in this room is that living in a neighborhood where sometimes people are not fully acculturated to how we live in this neighborhood, so they throw trash on the street because they don't know that in America we don't really roll like that. And so we go out as people of faith in different parts of our neighborhood, walking together, getting to know one another, and cleaning our neighborhood. And this Saturday, we will have, not this Saturday, next Saturday, the 23rd, Culmore Community Cleanup, where people who are black and people who are white and people who are Hispanic and people who are Arab and people who are African will all join together, walking through the streets with a plastic bag. And the big deal isn't that they're just cleaning up the sidewalk, they're cleaning up what's inside. Because I walked with my neighbor, I passed by someone's house, I got to know my neighbor. The good news is with Islamophobia, there are people who are afraid of the other, but today in this room we have groups like ICD who are working like Kaleidoscope has been working. Where's Penny Groves? Like Kaleidoscope has been working to allow us to overcome our fears and phobias of one another so that it creates resilience. You see, when the power was out, where's Samir Abu Isa? Come on, you have to get out of it. Samir Abu Isa said, building the kind of network in this community where there was a power outage in the summer. Many people in this area didn't have electricity and it was very hot. Samir said, I have a great idea. He always calls it a great idea. He texts me at 11 o'clock at night, I have a great idea. Are you awake? Right? And if you answer him, see, that means you was awake, right? Which means we're on duty. He said, why don't we open the mosque, for some reason has power when other places don't have power. Why don't we open the mosque as a cooling center for all of our neighbors? When we work together, you got to overcome your phobia and your fear. But you say, hey, man, I'm 80 years old and air conditioning not working and it's 95 degrees. I think if Reverend Moore tells me you can go over to the mosque and cool out, people will come over to the mosque and cool out. Chill out. Thank you. Who said it? I'm sorry. Sorry. Abdul Rashid, he said, you got to chill. See, that's what happened. You got to chill out. That's because he's a leader in the Boy Scouts. So he works with young people. And this community has its own Boy Scout and Girl Scout troop, bringing kids from our neighborhood to join with other young people. And he works also with a thing called Islamic Scouting, bridging the faith and service in Boy Scouts of America. We have an amazing collection of providers in this community. The reason that we brought you together today is, first, in order to build our capacity, our social safety network. It's a lot faster if we all get to know one another. Right now, many of you have maybe 1 or 2 degrees of separation. Say, for instance, Islamic Relief just walked in, right? And we even though Islamic Relief primarily does relief work in other countries, we said, we have a lot of needs in Fairfax County. And if you're collecting money to help people who are hungry somewhere else, charity begins. And so Islamic Relief has been our partner in programs for the needy in this community. Now, the reason that I think this gathering is so important for us, from degrees of separation, I know Ansari, and I know Sandy Chisholm. I didn't mention your name. Right? I should pick on people I didn't call before. Right? Sandy Chisholm. If we gathered like this and Ansari got to know Sandy Chisholm, it will improve our network. Instead of saying, Imam Johari, Sandy called me, do you know anybody who can do so-and-so? Right? And then I go in my Rolodex and I pull out that person and I give it to her. She says, thank you very much. Next time, she didn't have to call me. She just call you directly and say, hi, remember we did that thing before? Today, it is our opportunity to gather together to create a new set of networks, new relationships, and we have brought on 2 new people to bring us capacity. How many of you have ever had a meeting scheduled with Imam Johari? How many of you? All right, now, I don't want you, Alfonso Lopez, I don't want you to answer this. Right? Many of you have had a meeting that you wanted to meet with Imam Johari, and he couldn't make it. Don't nod your head. She's me. Yeah, that's right. Especially you, Abdul Rashid. The masjid has realized that in order for us to be faithful to the relationships that we built, we need to hire additional staff. Now, there are many people who talk about community engagement, but it's when you put your money where your mouth is. When we look at our social service program, Samiro, how much do we spend on social service? I know he keeps all the numbers in his head. Last year. Yeah. About $350,000. Let's give him a hand. Now, you might say, why are we giving him a hand? It's the community's money. I'm telling you, we have to go to him like pulling teeth because there's so many competing needs. But Tahani is director of our social services. Stand up. Let's give her a hand. By the way, she's the one who pulls the teeth. But for us, those dollars that people donate go further when we work together. I see Bacolao just came in. I was talking about you before you got here. Our community's social service dollars go further when we work together. And so our gathering here today, I want you to get a chance to meet our Deputy Director for Government Affairs, Colin Christopher. He's going to speak to you a little while later, and Fazia Dean, who's probably somewhere working. Oh, there she is. All right, Fazia Dean, who's our outreach and community liaison person. I can make you one small promise. Yes, sir? Oh, yes, I got you. I got that. I can make you one small promise, and that is, as Al-Hijrah has increased its capacity, you will see more of us. You will see us do more. And it also means that, Rabbi Jerry, that you get to see me more sometimes too. I'm not leaving, but what we are doing is recognizing that just like no two objects can occupy the same space, you can only be one place at one time. There was a question asked by the board, a board member to me, saying all these different relationships that we have at Al-Hijrah, because we're stretched so thin, which one of those relationships should we cut? Because we just don't have enough resources to be everywhere. And my answer to them was none. We need to hire more people so that we can build more relationships. And with some tooth pulling and some fundraising, we've been blessed to be able to do that. But I have another good piece of news for you. It's time for lunch. You knew that was coming. You could feel, you could smell the chicken. But before we do that, I'm going to ask Rabbi Jerry to come up. Yes, sir.